Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. This time, we're going to get into the Super Bowl.
Ooh, okay.
Not just like the game itself,
Right.
but like some of the moments that really kind of went beyond the touchdowns and shaped how we experience the Super Bowl culturally, technologically, you name it.
Yeah.
So we've got a list here
Okay.
from Michael Ruiz over at Listverse.
Okay.
10 Super Bowl moments that changed the game forever. And it was just published the other day, January 29th, 2025.
Wow. Very recent.
And let me tell you, some of these stories are wilder than a Hail Mary pass in overtime.
I'm excited to hear this.
Yeah, I know.
It's interesting how these moments, like some of them seem really insignificant at the time, but they really reverberated through the years.
Right.
They've influenced everything from like broadcasting regulations to just the way that we consume media today.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you really think about it.
Mm.
So, to kick things off,
Okay.
let's rewind to a time when the Super Bowl halftime show was, well, let's just say it wasn't exactly the must-see spectacle it is today.
Right.
Can you picture tuning in to see Up with people?
Wow.
I mean,
That is a stark contrast to what we're used to now.
oh, for sure.
Yeah. Before 1993, halftime was more about like wholesome entertainment.
Yeah.
Like marching bands, drill teams, that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't really designed to keep viewers glued to their screens.
It makes you wonder if people actually used halftime for like getting snacks or making a phone call,
Right.
you know? But then Super Bowl XC7 rolls around and enter Michael Jackson.
Oh, the king of pop.
The king of pop flips the script
Yes.
to completely flips the script on what a halftime show could be.
Totally.
We're talking like synchronized choreography, pyrotechnics,
Yeah.
hits like Jam, Billie Jean.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the energy
Right.
was palpable.
It was electric.
Do you think the NFL realized at the time just how much of a game changer this was going to be?
It's hard to say for sure.
Yeah.
But I think what they certainly understood was that they were losing viewers at halftime.
Right.
So bringing in Michael Jackson was a calculated risk.
Yeah.
And I mean, clearly it paid off spectacularly.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly halftime wasn't just filler. It was an event in itself.
Yeah, and this is where it gets really interesting, right?
Okay.
It wasn't just about entertainment. It was about understanding the power of halftime as a way to hold viewers, not lose them.
Uh-huh.
The NFL had like stumbled onto a gold mine.
Yeah, for sure.
Like they found something, they didn't even know they were looking for it.
Mhm.
And they're like, oh, wow,
Totally.
we can do this.
Yeah.
So,
It's a pivotal moment in the evolution of the Super Bowl.
right.
You know, Michael Jackson's performance set the stage for what we see today.
Yeah.
These elaborate, star-studded spectacles
Yes.
that are almost as anticipated as the game itself.
Right.
It's hard to imagine a Super Bowl halftime show without the legacy of that 1993 performance.
Right. It's like the Big Bang of halftime shows.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking Prince, Beyonce, Lady Gaga.
Mm-hmm.
All of them owe a debt to Michael Jackson for basically just exploding onto that Super Bowl stage.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's shift gears a little bit to another Super Bowl moment
Okay.
that sparked a lot of conversation, shall we say.
Right.
Super Bowl X68, Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake, Rock Your Body,
Yes.
and a certain wardrobe malfunction that nobody saw coming.
It's a moment that's become infamous,
Mhm.
for sure. But, you know, it represents so much more than just a few seconds of exposed skin.
Right.
It was a catalyst for a national conversation about censorship, about media bias, and really about the double standard in how Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake's careers were impacted in the aftermath.
Exactly. And it's incredible how this one fleeting moment had such a profound ripple effect, right? I mean,
Mhm.
we're talking 500,000 complaints to the FCC,
Oh, wow.
record-breaking fines, a
Yeah.
complete overhaul of how live broadcasts are handled
Right.
with those delays we see now.
I remember that.
Yeah, you have to wonder, though, what really resonated with the public?
Yeah.
Was it the perceived indecency?
Right.
Or was it something deeper, something about the way the media reacted,
Yeah.
the scrutiny that Janet Jackson faced compared to Justin Timberlake?
It's a multifaceted issue, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it forced us to confront some uncomfortable truths
Yeah.
about how we view female performers, about our own biases, and about the power of the media to shape public perception.
It really makes you think
Yes, it does.
about the power of these seemingly fleeting moment.
For sure. Yeah, it certainly sparked a debate that continues to this day.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of things that changed the game,
Okay.
let's dive into the world of technology.
Wow.
We've got two moments here
Okay.
that really highlight how technology has reshaped not just the way we watch the Super Bowl,
Right.
but our entire relationship with it.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Take it away.
Okay, so let's start in 1986, Super Bowl XX.
Okay.
This marked the introduction of instant replay.
Something we now take for granted.
For sure.
But back then, it was revolutionary.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where referees' calls were absolutely final,
Right.
no matter how much you disagreed,
Oh, the arguments.
or how clear the bad calls seemed.
That must have erupted in living rooms across the country.
Exactly.
I mean, everyone thinks they're an armchair referee, right?
Right.
But seriously, the idea of a bad call potentially ruining a game, especially the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
it's almost unthinkable now.
Totally.
So how did this instant replay thing even work back in 86?
Yeah.
It couldn't have been as seamless as it is today?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It was far from seamless.
Yeah.
We're talking grainy footage,
Right.
limited camera angles,
Uh-huh.
and a much slower review process.
Okay.
And it wasn't without controversy.
Right.
There were those who argued that it would slow down the game,
Yeah.
disrupt the flow, take away from the excitement of those spontaneous moments.
I can see their point. But surely the desire for fairness,
Right.
for getting the call right, had to outweigh those concerns.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's ultimately what prevailed.
Okay.
The technology, even in its infancy,
Mm-hmm.
offered a way to correct those game-changing mistakes.
Yeah.
And that appealed to both fans and the league.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. It's
Wow.
like a symbol of how technology,
Yeah.
even when it's not perfect,
Yeah.
can still push us towards a better, fairer outcome.
Absolutely.
So, okay, so that's instant replay, a game changer for sure.
Yeah.
What's the second tech moment we're diving into?
Okay. Fast forward to 2012,
Okay.
Super Bowl XL3.
Okay.
This is the year the Super Bowl goes digital.
Okay.
For the first time ever, the game is streamed online
Wow.
in partnership with NBC.
Only a little over a decade ago.
I know.
It feels like we've been streaming the Super Bowl forever,
Right.
but back then, this must have been a huge deal.
It was absolutely groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
This wasn't just about convenience.
Right.
This was about changing the way people could access the game,
Mm-hmm.
potentially opening it up to a whole new audience.
Right. People who maybe didn't have cable
Exactly.
or who were on the go could now tune in.
Absolutely.
It's like a preview of the streaming revolution that was just around the corner.
Yes.
Now we have Amazon Prime, YouTube,
Right.
all these platforms vying for live sports.
Mm.
It's kind of crazy to think it all started with that first Super Bowl stream.
I know. It's amazing how far we've come.
It really is.
It's a testament to how quickly technology can change, not just how we watch something,
Right.
but who has access to it.
Right. It really is.
It makes you wonder how we'll be watching the Super Bowl 10 years from now, doesn't it?
That's a great question.
But technology isn't the only thing that shaped the Super Bowl's evolution.
Right.
It's also become a cultural phenomenon
Oh, for sure.
that goes way beyond the sport itself.
Okay. I'm ready for the cultural deep dive.
Okay.
What moments are we talking about here?
Two stand out. First, let's rewind to 1985 and the Chicago Bears.
Okay.
This team wasn't just dominant on the field.
Mm-hmm.
They were making waves in the music world
Okay.
with the Super Bowl Shuffle.
Oh, come on. You're bringing up the Super Bowl shuffle.
Yeah.
Admit it, you've got that song on repeat, don't you?
Maybe I do.
I knew it.
But in all seriousness, this wasn't just a novelty song.
Okay.
It sold 500,000 copies,
Wow.
earned a Grammy nomination.
Really?
It was a legitimate pop culture moment.
It's kind of amazing.
It is.
Like the Bears understood the power of the Super Bowl platform.
Yeah,
That it could launch them into something bigger than just football.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And they weren't afraid to have some fun with it, which is
That-
part of what made it so infectious.
Right.
It was one of the first examples of athletes crossing over into pop culture
Yeah.
in such a big way.
And it paved the way for countless others to follow suit.
Totally.
Nowadays, it's not uncommon to see athletes with their own clothing lines. Appearing in movies, even hosting TV shows,
Mm-hmm.
the Super Bowl shuffle, in its own way, helped make that possible.
For sure.
Okay, what's the second cultural moment we need to talk about?
Let's talk about advertising.
Okay.
Specifically, the rise of the $1 million Super Bowl ad.
Okay.
And it all started with Apple's iconic 1984 commercial for the Macintosh.
Ah, yes, the ad that basically broke the internet before the internet even existed.
Right.
But to spend $1 million on a single commercial back then,
Yeah.
that was a gamble, wasn't
It
it?
was a huge EE gamble.
Yeah.
But Apple was known for being different,
Yeah,
for challenging the status quo.
right.
And they didn't just create an ad, they created an experience.
Yes.
It was symbolic,
Yeah.
emotional, it told a story.
Mhm.
It wasn't just about the product.
And it paid off in a big way.
It did.
It's not just that the ad was memorable.
Right.
It elevated the entire concept of Super Bowl advertising.
Totally.
Suddenly, companies were competing not just for airtime, but for the most creative, most talked about ad.
Exactly.
It was a turning point.
It was.
The 1984 ad essentially ushered in the era of Super Bowl advertising as we know it today, where companies spend millions
Yeah.
to create mini movies
Right.
designed to go viral.
Absolutely.
It's fascinating how this one ad,
Yeah.
this one risk that Apple took, completely transformed an entire industry.
I know, it's amazing.
It makes you realize that sometimes the most impactful moments
Yeah.
are the ones that break the mold,
For sure.
the ones that dare to be different.
Absolutely.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here,
We have.
but there's a whole other side to the Super Bowl,
Okay.
one that involves the unexpected,
Yeah.
the bizarre, the moments that leave you scratching your head and saying,
Yeah.
did that really just happen?
Like those moments that add a dose of unpredictability
Yeah.
to the meticulously planned spectacle of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And believe it or not,
Mm-hmm.
even these moments have contributed to shaping the game as we know it.
I'm all ears.
Okay.
Hit me with those unexpected Super Bowl moments.
Okay, let's start with 2013.
Yeah.
Super Bowl XL7,
Okay.
Ravens versus 49ers.
Uh-huh.
It's a tense game.
Okay.
The stakes are high.
Right.
And then, bam,
Oh,
the lights
yeah.
go out.
Wait, are we talking about the infamous Blackout Bowl?
Yeah.
I remember watching that with my family.
Oh, wow.
We were all glued to the TV.
Yeah.
Then suddenly, everything goes dark.
It was surreal.
It was surreal. What even happened?
Yeah.
Was it just a random power outage? Or was there something more to it?
Officially, it was a massive power outage
Okay.
that lasted a whopping 34 minutes.
34 minutes.
Right in the middle of the game.
That's like a whole quarter of the game.
I know.
It must have thrown everything off.
It did.
And did they ever figure out what caused it?
The exact cause was eventually determined to be a faulty device
Oh, okay.
that triggered a partial power failure. But of course, the blackout also sparked a whole slew of conspiracy theories,
Oh.
with some people suggesting it was staged
Oh, come on.
to create drama.
A staged blackout during the Super Bowl?
Right.
That's next level conspiracy thinking.
It is.
But I guess that's part of the Super Bowl's allure, right?
Yeah.
It's this breeding ground for speculation and water cooler talk.
Exactly.
But beyond the conspiracy theories,
Yeah.
what kind of impact did the blackout actually have on the game itself?
Well, the Ravens were leading by a comfortable margin
Oh, okay.
when the lights went out.
Uh-huh.
But the blackout gave the 49ers time to regroup,
Oh,
and they actually mounted a comeback when the game resumed.
really?
Ultimately, the Ravens held on to win,
Okay.
but it definitely added a layer of unpredictability to the game.
It makes you wonder how things might have played out if that blackout hadn't happened.
Right.
But beyond the immediate impact on the game,
Mm-hmm.
it also exposed some vulnerabilities, right?
Absolutely. It highlighted the importance of robust backup systems for large-scale events
Right?
and raised questions about the reliability of infrastructure,
Yeah.
especially for a global event like the Super Bowl.
It's a reminder that even with all the planning and technology,
Yeah.
things can still go wrong.
Totally.
And sometimes those unexpected moments
Right.
end up being the ones we remember the most.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've had a blackout,
Yeah.
a power outage of epic proportions.
Yes.
What's the next unexpected Super Bowl moment you've got for me?
Let's journey back to 1974.
Okay.
Super Bowl VIII.
All right.
The halftime show is in full swing.
Okay.
And suddenly,
Okay.
a streaker runs across the field.
Hold on. A streaker?
Fully naked.
In the middle of the Super Bowl?
Yes.
I can't even imagine the reaction of the crowd,
I know.
let alone the millions watching on TV.
It was the 70s.
Okay.
A time when streaking was a bit of a fad.
Right.
But this incident brought it to the biggest stage imaginable. And while it certainly provided some unexpected entertainment,
I bet.
it also forced the NFL to rethink its approach to security.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine something like that happening today.
Right.
With the level of security we see at Super Bowl games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The streaker incident was a wake-up call.
Okay.
It led to stricter security measures,
Mm-hmm.
more comprehensive screening,
Okay.
and a greater emphasis on preventing disruptions.
It's amazing to think that something as seemingly trivial as a streaker
Yeah,
could have such a lasting impact on Super Bowl security protocols.
I know, right?
It's kind of funny when you think about it.
Yeah.
But I guess it just goes to show that even the most unexpected events
Mm-hmm.
can force us to adapt and improve.
Absolutely.
And it speaks to the evolving nature of the Super Bowl itself.
Yeah.
What might have been acceptable or at least tolerable in 1974
Mm-hmm.
was no longer an option in the years that followed.
Yeah, times have changed.
Yeah, it is fascinating to see how those seemingly insignificant moments can
Yeah.
have such a big impact. It makes
Yeah.
you realize that the Super Bowl is more than just a game, right?
For sure.
It's like a reflection of our culture, our technology, and even our capacity for the unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
But we've talked a lot about the past.
Right.
What about the future of the Super Bowl?
Ooh, good question.
Like, what's next? What seemingly small thing happening NW
Right.
might shape the Super Bowl of, say, 2035?
That's the exciting part, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like trying to predict the next big play.
Right.
But if history has taught us anything,
Yeah.
it's that innovation, whether planned or completely out of left field,
Right.
is going to be a major player.
So are we talking flying cars delivering the game ball, hologram halftime performers? Like,
Right.
what's your prediction?
It's hard to say for sure, but I think we'll see a continued blurring of the lines
Okay.
between the physical and digital worlds. So maybe virtual reality experiences that make you feel like you're on the sidelines,
Wow.
or augmented reality overlays that provide real-time stats and replays right on your living room floor.
That's wild.
Right.
It would be like having your own personal Super Bowl command center.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what about the social and political landscape?
Oh, yeah.
Could those forces shape the Super Bowl of the future?
I mean, for sure.
Absolutely.
I think so.
We've already seen how the Super Bowl has become a platform for social commentary,
Right.
from player protests to commercials that tackle important issues.
Right, exactly.
Imagine a future where the Super Bowl becomes even more intertwined with social movements,
Okay.
where athletes and brands use their platform to advocate for change on a global stage.
It's almost like the Super Bowl could become this catalyst for dialogue and action.
Yeah.
Like a way to bring people together around important issues,
Sure.
even if they disagree about who should win the game.
Exactly. It has the potential to be a powerful force for good.
Right.
Or, on a lighter note, maybe the next big thing will be something completely unexpected.
Yeah.
Remember the streaker?
Oh, right.
Who knows what kind of quirky viral moment might capture the world's attention
Yeah.
and leave its mark on the Super Bowl's history?
Okay, I have to ask.
Yeah.
Do you have any secret insider knowledge about some crazy new Super Bowl idea brewing in the NFL headquarters?
I can't reveal my sources,
No. All right, fair enough.
but it is fun to speculate.
Yeah, it is fun to speculate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a reminder that the Super Bowl, even with all its traditions and history,
Yeah,
is a dynamic and ever-evolving event.
for sure.
Who knows what the future holds?
I guess that's part of the magic, right?
Yeah.
The Super Bowl is this constant mix
Mm.
of the familiar and the unexpected. You know,
Right.
you're going to get amazing athleticism,
Yes.
intense competition,
For sure.
and those heart-stopping moments.
Absolutely.
But you also know there's a chance
Right.
something totally wild might happen.
So they'll be talked about for years to come.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And for our listeners,
Okay.
I want to leave you with this thought.
Okay.
As we've seen today, even seemingly small moments
Yeah.
can have a huge ripple effect.
Mhm.
So take a moment to consider
Oh.
what's happening in your life, your community, the world around you.
Yeah.
What seemingly insignificant event might actually be shaping the future
That's a great point to ponder.
in ways we can't even imagine yet.
Yeah, we've explored how the Super Bowl transformed
Right.
from a simple game into this cultural phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a stage for iconic performances,
Yes.
infamous blunders,
That's right.
technological innovations,
Yeah.
unexpected disruptions.
For sure.
And this journey's far from over, right?
Yeah.
The Super Bowl will continue to evolve
Absolutely.
to reflect our changing world and surprise us with moments
Yeah.
that will be debated, dissected, and remembered for years to come.
Exactly.
So we've only scratched the surface of these stories.
Right. If any of these moments we've discussed today have sparked your curiosity,
Mhm.
I encourage you to dive deeper.
Yeah.
You'll find a treasure trove of information and even more food for thought.
Absolutely.
And who knows, maybe you'll uncover a hidden gem,
Right?
a forgotten moment waiting to be rediscovered and appreciated
Yeah.
for its impact on the game we all know and love.
It's out there.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
I love it.